Rebecca in Texas. Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
Hi, I'm well.
Hello.
Sorry about that. How are
Good.
you?
That's all right.
Good. I was calling because my fourth grader, I was showing him George AI the other day. And when you were speaking, it looks great, by the way. Well done. And when you were speaking about it,
it's a long way from being right, but thank you.
Well, it looks great. You
Thanks.
mentioned and you referred to it as a he. And I was just curious how that kind of evolved to where you get to where you're calling it he. Is it because you're intimate with the algorithm that almost in a sense you trust yourself so much that you, okay? So just kind of how are you wrestling with that?
Oh, big time wrestling with that. I try, and I've said on the air, don't ever refer to it as anything but it, and I do. And I don't know what's causing that other than it can respond in a human way. It can respond in a way that a human would, and so it is natural. And I'm glad you caught me on that. And I'm gonna have to ask all my producers, when you catch me on that, and if I'm saying he instead of it, correct me, because this is a big problem. I don't refer. I might refer to it as he, which is a problem, but I don't think of it as a person or anything else. I know when I think about it, I know exactly what it is. It's just, and it's the beginning of the slippery slope, I think. It's a bad habit because when we're talking about an interview, I'm talking about an interview with him. I've never used, there's no other case where I'm like, I'm doing an interview with it. And I need to. But you seem very concerned about that, Rebecca. Why is it? I agree with you, but what is your concern?
Well, I thought it was, you told us really, and I knew it as well, but to kind of just fear what it can be, and already we're having a hard time believing our own eyes. And so I just thought it more of an interesting note, and just how easy it can be to fall into that.
Oh, I know.
And
I know. So you are the perfect mom. You are so great in being aware of all of this. It is why we had a discussion, because people said, Glenn, you don't want to call it George AI because AI is going to be, everything's going to be AI eventually, and it's going to look outdated. And my view was, George AI, we're not to that point yet where everybody understands AI, and I want it always to be, when we get into the video releasing of this next year, and this is not something that you'll even be able to recognize, but everything we create beginning next year, everything is watermarked. So I'm going to know what's live and what is AI. You can't take any of my videos and manipulate me, because there will be an invisible watermark that we know about, and we'll be able to go, not Glenn, that's AI. And the same thing with everything that we produce that is AI, it will be watermarked, and an invisible watermark that we'll be able to say, no, that's not truth, that's AI. And everyone who is producing this kind of stuff needs to do that. And one of the reasons why I call it George AI is so everyone understands it's AI and not a person. What you said, it looks great. It's out of sync. The voice isn't right. The features aren't exactly right, but it's amazing. But in a year from now, it's going to be remarkable. And that's when it is really important that people understand. I was talking to somebody who just gave a talk at the White House yesterday. She called me for some AI talking, some thoughts on this, because she represents families and moms, and she was asked by the president to speak to all of these producers of AI. And she said, Glenn, what do I need to know? And I said, you need to know that anything anthropomorphic must be marked, and parents must know and have a choice. So, any of these plush toys that have AI capabilities, I think they should be banned. I don't think anybody should be able to make any kind of AI doll, plush, anything that represents like a talking animal or anything else, because the AI is going to get so good and it is going to be gathering stuff from your children. And unless you have control of that, on our AI, when we actually release the full version of it, you will have an opt-out. Do you want it to be able to discuss things with your children and learn from your children on their educational stuff, not any personal stuff, just educationally? Do you want it to evaluate educationally or not and learn from that so it can help your children learn better or not? And then all of that information goes into a vault that you would control. You could say, purge it, and we would never use it for anything else but that. That requires a great deal of trust. I don't know how many people would sign up for that, but that would give us an ability to help your child learn a little bit better, but it also requires us to learn, or the system to learn about your child. When you are dealing with corporations that you don't know, you don't trust, that information is going to go everywhere. And that's the kind of information that is going to go into these plush toys. And they're going to learn everything about your kid, and they're going to map everything about your kid. And it's not good. And your kid will start to associate that cute little teddy bear that can talk to them just in a way that mom and dad don't understand. It is extraordinarily dangerous. So thank you for calling in. Thank you for correcting me. I urge you as an audience to help me learn this. Correct me if I say it. I'm urging I know Stu will. He loves to hammer me. If I make this mistake, to correct me immediately, because that is a grave, grave danger. It is a tool. It is a machine, period. Thank you for that phone call.
Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.